to the Quiet Warrior Show, where we help top leaders find their pathway to incredible success and a lifetime of happiness. Here is your host, Tom Dutta, the Quiet Warrior.
Well, welcome to the Quiet Warrior Show. My name is Tom Dutta, and I am the Quiet Warrior. And I'm really excited to have on my show today Mr. Jody Maberry. Jody, are you there?
Hello, Tom.
Okay. It's like we're together. It's just amazing having you. And I think you're calling me from Port Townsend, Washington. Here I am up in Vancouver, British Columbia, right?
Yeah, we're not that far from each other. We're practically neighbors.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm honored to have you on my show. People all over North America will want to listen to the show. With the internet, it could be global. And I know in Vancouver, we can throw a stone over to Seattle. So that's awesome. So Jody, why don't we just start with you and tell me about yourself and what you do?
Well, Tom, I currently work in 3 areas. I usually will tell people I'm a marketing consultant, but I do a lot of podcasting. I help businesses or people with personal brands get their show out into the world. Sometimes that means I host it, so you'll hear my voice on the show. Yep. Sometimes that means I just help people get started. So that's one of the things that I do. The other is copywriting, so sales letters, emails, web copy, that sort of thing. And then the other is coaching and consulting and marketing strategy, that sort. But it really was a crooked road to get here where I'm at.
Well, you know what? That's why I invite you on the show. I love that handle. It might be something there, the crooked road. I like to say, Jody, that when people come onto the show, this is a show of authenticity. I don't allow people on my show who have big egos. And in business, CEOs and top leaders, well, they have power and money, and sometimes egos get in the way. So I want to hear your authentic story, but before you go into that, I do want to build you up a bit. So it's remarkable to me that all the things you said that you're doing today are amazing to me. And in your past, you've done interesting things from, the founder of Park Leaders, and you've been a park ranger, believe it or not. And then you're a very smart guy. I know that you are a seeker and you learn. So you've done your bachelor's at the Illinois State University in finance. You and I have a connection because I come from part of my career, the banking industry, and I think you were there. And then Jack Welch Institute, I noted you have an MBA. So I think you're a very well-rounded guy, but you've got a crooked pathway to success. So let's go there and get you into your hero's journey. And for those who haven't heard this before, the hero's journey is really where at some point in our lives we hear this call to adventure. Some people are climbing success and they're just not fulfilled, and usually something happens in their life. Sometimes it's not when it's a good thing, and they go on a different pathway to discover and they find a deeper purpose and meaning. Then they come back as a guide to do things to help, change the world or help other people. So just take us back as far as you want to go and help us understand your crooked story.
Well, I'm actually going to step back a little further than I normally would, because okay. I think there's something relevant in going back that far. So I am from Illinois, so the very middle of the United States. And when I graduated from college, I assumed I would end up working at Caterpillar like most people do in Peoria.
Yeah.
But I came out west and fell in love with the West. And so I moved here with $700 in my pocket, no job, didn't know anybody.
Wow.
And I had a degree in finance, a degree in marketing, but I really liked this small town in Northwest Washington. And I thought, I'm just going to stay here no matter what it takes. And I found that there was a bank headquartered in the small town. And I wanted get in there and get a good job, but there really wasn't anything available. So I decided I'm going to take the gamble, and I took a job as a loan servicing specialist.
Okay.
So I sat there and I answered phones when people called to complain about their loans or they were late on their payments or whatnot. And I said, once they get to know me, they'll have no choice but to promote me.
Uh-huh.
And sure enough, it only took 6 months. And then I became a financial analyst, which is what I thought I always wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I got to wear a tie to work every day, which in college, I thought that's what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And after 4 years of that, I realized, well, I accomplished what I wanted to do, but it's not exactly what I thought. And I always wanted to be a park ranger. So let's take a run at that.
So
And
you had a dream, really, which a lot of people do, but they never pursue it.
yeah, that's right. And I'll tell you this about being a park ranger. I was a ranger for 8 years. And during those 8 years, I don't think I'm exaggerating if I tell you that there were probably 200 times where someone would come up to me and say, I always wanted to be a park ranger, and then they would have a reason why it never happened. But so many people had that dream and never even pursued it. But,
if you don't mind me saying, when I think about your park ranger, I had no idea what that was until I started watching that Yogi Bear store. So, I mean, I can't even imagine what a park ranger is like.
Well, we could swap a lot of stories there. I was a law enforcement ranger, so gotcha. I got to see a lot of great things. I got to see some things you probably don't want to see, but overall it was fantastic. And I did that for 8 years. And it was a dream job, like I said, but then times were getting, different. It wasn't as fun as it used to be. We were going through big budget problems, and they were going to lay people off. Like 80 park rangers got laid off. And I was likely to get bumped out of my position, not laid off, but probably bumped because I had a high position with not a lot of seniority. So all of that combined, plus working nights and weekends, and it just felt like it was time. Even though that was a dream job, it felt like I was giving up precious time with my family to continue to live this job that was a dream of mine. So I left that, and that's when I went back to school to get an MBA, and I worked for a luxury home builder doing marketing for them.
Yep.
After a couple of years, this was a great opportunity that I realized not a lot of people get. After a couple of 2 years with them, we came to an agreement where I would leave the company, no longer be an employee, but still do all of their marketing, which allowed me to start doing it for other people. Well, that's when park leaders, you mentioned park leaders in your intro, that's when park leaders came in because I wanted to get attached to parks again.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to work for the government. And it's really hard to be a park ranger and not work for the government. They tend to kick you out of the park if you try that. So, so that's when I started the Park Leaders Show, which focused on leadership in parks and conservation. And that's been almost 4 years now. And
so that's a show, Jody, that's still ongoing today, right?
It's still ongoing today. Yeah. I'm not as regular with it as I used to be. I tell people it's a weekly show, but now it's, a couple times a month when I get around to it. But that one led to creating Disney Magic, which I do with Lee Cockrell. Lee ran Disney World for 10 years, and now we do a show together. And then that just led to many other opportunities. And so by the time we're talking, I've done just hundreds of episodes and hundreds of interviews. And what's been great about it is the Park Leaders Show allowed me to practice in a field because Tom, you probably never listened to the Park Leaders Show because why would you? It's for park rangers. So that allowed me to get good in an area that wasn't business related.
Yeah.
By the time I moved into business podcasting, I had figured it out and I knew what I was doing. And then I could help people like Lee Cockrell, help people like you that are either one, building a personal brand, or two, a business that just needs a voice and get their message. And so it allows me to help people that have this great message inside of them or this great story that if they get it out, they can help other people.
Yeah.
Now I get to do that. I get to help those people get their message out, which then helps other people. So it's really tremendous, the ripple effect that it has. And it really does make me happy to see it happen.
Yeah. I love it. First of all, I'm astonished by the journey so far that you've told me. I knew a little bit about your story, but what came to mind is the word dreamer. I mean, you had a dream, and what I've discovered is people, Jody, and you also said something about, I thought I was supposed to do that. So isn't that the way it is? Most of us, and I wrote about this in my book, The Way of the Quiet Warrior, recently, that most people, they end up in a career or on a treadmill doing something that they think that's what they're supposed to do. And as they climb, they try to find happiness and fulfillment. It's not there. But the sad reality is so many people stay on that same treadmill, but you had the courage to sort of shift and go dream and be a park leader. And then, you've really, I see you as a thought leader, somebody who's now back helping others like me, get our messages to change the world. Just tell us more.
Oh, I'm glad you said all that. That's one of the things that I've done. I probably did a lot more when I was younger, but I still like to do that, where I'm willing to pursue something. You go back to when I grew up in Illinois and I just left and came out west. And so every so often I tend to find something new, find the next thing and go for it and remake myself. And even I've been on my own. Well, I say on my own, I mean, I have my own business for the past 4 years. And I think I've even remade that probably 4 times.
Well, Jody, they say that there's the 2 biggest fears most people have are the fear of the fear of failure and the fear of not being loved or enough. So was there any fear? I mean, going out on your own and all the things you're doing, you're this seeker. What did you do to kind of keep moving forward, or was there any fear or setbacks?
Well, there's been fear, but I also don't mind hearing no.
Yeah.
I'm told no a lot. Okay. And usually the items that, or the situations that were at the time, I could say, my goodness, I really failed there, have been such a learning lesson that when I come back, I'm so much better at whatever it is. And so let's just take podcasting, since we're on a podcast. I don't share this story often, but perhaps I should share it more. I recorded 6 episodes of the Park Leader Show and then wouldn't put it out because I didn't. A lot of people say this, but I didn't like the sound of my voice. I thought my voice sounded different than other people's, and because of that, it must not be good. And so I just wouldn't put my podcast out. And I finally did. And then in the 4 years that show's been out, I've had people tell me, oh, your show's helped me get a promotion. It's helped me manage the park better. It's helped me land it. All those people that have been helped by the show, it wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have been willing to just try it and be okay with failing. So I think that's just part of it, is that you just have to be willing to fail. You have to know you're going to fail. And I rarely just use that word anymore, just because I've just found that it's, yes, it's a failure, as in it didn't maybe have the outcome you wanted, but it still has an outcome, and often you get to decide how that outcome turns out.
Absolutely. Well, you said something there that inspired me, and I think it's a lesson in leadership. I want to just emphasize that, you sometimes, I mean, there's 2 things we all have, right? The head and the heart, and the head gets in our way, and how you were feeling about your own voice almost tripped you up and held you back. And there's so many people, Jody, that want to start, say, a radio show and do things, out of their comfort zone, but they never do. But you found the courage to obviously, push through. So that's a gift. And look what it's turned into in terms of how you're helping people through the work you're doing. I want to just finish with this last thought on that. And I wrote about this in my book. But some people come from beginnings where they don't love themselves enough, or maybe they've had difficult situations where they've been made to feel that they don't have self-worth. And I think your lesson in leadership there is really important. Some people think they're fat or they're ugly or they're not good enough, and they stay in their cocoon all their lives. Others, like you, break through and live the dream and take courage and make it happen. So that's just awesome.
Well, and I also think if you were to turn my story into a metaphor or a parable or whatever you want to call it, for me, it was literally my voice that held me back. But my voice is what people needed to hear. And that's true for so many other people. Now, it may not be your actual voice. It may be the thoughts in your head.
Yeah.
It may be the one thing you're really good at. That people need that. There are people out there that you don't even know that are waiting for that it's going to impact their life. And you're holding it to yourself, which is selfish. I know it doesn't feel that way when you're scared and you don't want to do it, but to know that there are people out there that you can impact, that you can help, but you're not doing it because you don't like the way your voice sounds, or you think, oh, I'm just, once I lose 20 pounds, then I'll start speaking in front of people, or you know what I'm getting at.
Absolutely.
There's just that one thing that's holding you back to keeping you from impacting other people.
Yeah, you just gave me perspective on some. I was thinking about a woman who wrote a book, a fellow author I know, and she lost her voice at a young age. And so imagine somebody like her, right? And she's gone out and done things regardless of not having a voice. So, sometimes when we think about the voice we have, we think about those who don't have voices. It's really perspective. Hey, Jody, I wanted to ask you this. If I met you on the street for the first time, didn't know you, I feel like I've known you a long time. And I said, what's your purpose in your life? What's your meaning of your life? What would you say?
Well, right now, I think that I have realized that a gift that's been given to me, a special opportunity, is to help people get that message out, what's inside of them, their story, the way they can help other people. Now, whether that is through podcasting, whether that's through copywriting, helping them shape their story with written words, or just marketing strategy, helping them figure out how to get it out. Man, Tom, that's been so fun. That's been such a good opportunity for me to just work with people that, quite honestly, I learn a lot from. They come to me and hire me, but I learn so much from them.
Yeah.
And they've got these amazing stories or talent that can help so many people. And then I get to help them get it out into the world. I mean, man, I smile every day knowing I get to do that.
Yeah, I saw something today, or I saw it online. Lee Cockrell, the show that you host, what's it called? Creating Disney Magic or something like that.
Yeah.
It was 1 million. It hit 1 million downloads. Now, anybody who knows about thought leadership knows if 1 million people can hear your voice, I mean, that can change the world. So, great job on what you're doing. I want to ask you one more question, and then we'll move to wrapping up. We'll have you back again, I'm sure. And that is, what lights you up? What makes your heart sing? What's your, besides the work you're doing, what are you doing that's a passion for, that makes you so happy?
Well, professionally, I have started to move more towards speaking and consulting, but going from being a technician to helping people behind the scenes to being more of a expert. I don't know if that's the proper word to use, but being more out in front of people, speaking and consulting, and that has been a lot of fun. I just did a speaking tour with Lee Cockrell, and we got to meet so many great people that are out there every day doing the work, serving people. And man, that just lit me up to see these people and to hear when they would hear the message, they would say, gosh, nobody's ever told me that before.
Yeah.
And to realize that I can get out there and spread a word that will help people do their job better, which that then ripples out. So that's what's really been lighting me up lately.
That's pretty cool. I like to say that when you can infuse your job or career with your passion, you'll have a successful career. If your career or your job doesn't have your passion in it. And I just kind of figured it out from talking to you that when you're in front of the mic and helping others do the same, and now you're speaking, I can, the audience listening can't see this, but I can see you on a screen right now. You're just lit up. So that's awesome. So I want to honor you with 2 words before I wrap this up. 2 leadership words that you exemplify in my mind. One is you're a dreamer. That's awesome. You are the dream, your imagination. And 2 is thought leader. You're a thought leader that not only uses your own voice to teach and help others, but I mean, if you've heard of duplication before, what you're teaching me and others, we're duplicating around the world. So if anything, you're creating a movement of thought leadership. So it's awesome. So I'll turn it back to you for the last word. It's been really fun having you on, Jody.
Well, Tom, I appreciate those kind words, and it's been so much fun to work with you and help you get started on your journey, because I realize that I may have helped you a little bit, but you're going to go on and help a lot of people an awful lot. And so I mentioned it before, that's the sort of thing that delights me. I can help one person and then they go out and change the world. And my name may not be on that, but I sit here at home and just light up over knowing that that's going on. So it's so good to see you having the show now and the success with your podcast, and to know I've played a little part in that. And there's little pieces like that all over, and it just is so much fun to be a part of. And I really thank you for having me on the show, Tom. It's so fun to watch what you're doing.
Well, amen to that, Jody, and welcome to the Quiet Warrior tribe. That's what a Quiet Warrior is. They don't want their name out there, but they're helping people. So thank you for being on the show. And well, everybody, that's it for today. And continue to find your passion and live with that true purpose in your life, and live life the way life you desire.
Thank you for listening to The Quiet Warrior Show. Create is a motive-based leadership development firm. www.kreat.ca